SAS have really supported me, and I'm just really upset that it's closing.
Kirklees council offices and asked where do I get a petition form from, so they sent me around a few places.
A lot of people with Asperger's will have an above average high IQ, which means that
without something like this, I really don't have much reason to get up in the morning.
We started the site here in Kirklees about 5 years ago, and initially we ran a group at Huddersfield Methodist Mission on Lord Street in Huddersfield Town Centre, because from our research it was apparent that there was very little in terms of activity or engagement opportunities for people on the spectrum, for people with either high functioning autism or Asperger's, and that there was no social interaction opportunity. So to begin with, we would have referrals from people either through the job centre, we would have referrals through from the council, or sometimes, it would be people who'd been recently diagnosed and they would just find us of their own accord. And so it just developed from there. The majority of people that we work with here have an existing diagnosis of Asperger syndrome, and the way in which it's benefited individuals is progression around them understanding the impact of the condition, and also looking at how to enhance and develop their social interaction skills, and inevitably employability. Quite a few of our members have progressed on, to employment, which I think is a very, very positive thing. Other people have progressed on to independent living, and others have just got a greater awareness now of how Asperger's can sometimes impact on them, and how that can be interpreted by people around them. So it's been, quite a progressive service, and it was felt as, more and more people came to join our service, it was felt maybe we needed a larger venue, which is why we moved to this site in Fenny Bridge last January.
The services have been excellent. As I say, I've known SACAR and the successor Specialist Autism Services for over 10 years. And as far as I'm concerned, they're very, very good. They're one of the few organisations that understand Asperger's, and that's rare indeed.
We have, like I said, we have a main site which is in Bradford, our flagship site. We also have a site in Leeds, and we have a site in Otley. The site in Otley works more with individuals who have both autism and may have a learning disability and may have a physical disability as well. And we also have a social group operating in York. Here we have the 6 staff that we normally have here. In the majority of time, like I said, I'm normally at Bradford site. Other staff will be at our Leeds site or other sites, and so we're just going to be redistributed when this site closes back to those main sites.
It's a great shame that it's being closed down. For a long number of years, my son had to go to Bradford to get the sort of services that he gets here now. And when Specialist Autism Services opened up in Kirklees, it was a great benefit to us and to the community of Kirklees as a whole. So the fact that it's closing down now is a real disadvantage to the community.
This site, the Kirklees site, we have 7 regular staff, which would include facilitators for the sessions that we deliver. Also, one of our staff which works on the Department of Works and Pensions scheme, which is an ongoing one to look at successfully engaging people with Asperger's into full or part-time employment.
I am a bit upset about it, and I've just, because I've only been here a year, so I've been struggling for about at least 5 years. SAS have really supported me, and I'm just really upset that it's closing.
Basically, we do taxi for Samantha to get here, but it's turned out that we've got a huge amount of support from Linda, who's the service coordinator here, simply because right from day one, it was so obvious that she understood what Samantha's needs were and what our needs were, because everywhere else we've gone and talking about it, they've looked at us like we've got two heads, because it's not like we're just looking after Samantha. Rowena has a large extended family, and most of them have Asperger's syndrome as well, and we do an awful lot of support for that, and nobody has really understood what we do, why we do it, and what it takes out of us. Certainly, it doesn't fit with Gateway to Care. It doesn't feature in the carers strategy for Kirklees, and like everybody else that we've dealt with in Kirklees, they just don't understand Asperger's and the needs of people who've got it.
I find it really difficult when I'm out and about. So I find it hard to concentrate, because I can only concentrate for like 16 minutes and then I just go off in this other world. I've got my son as well. My son's 3 in August, and it's a bit difficult from when you're meeting like the midwife and health visitor and all the rest of them. It's just, I find it very hard to communicate with people.
I started this service along with 2 other colleagues 5 years ago at the Methodist Mission in the centre of Huddersfield. So for me, it's really devastating to have to close the service. I feel very sad. It's like I'm going to be losing part of my family. We've all worked together for so many years, and I think it's the members who are really going to suffer and not have that ability to be able to socialise, to learn the social skills that they need to develop, and miss out and become maybe isolated, and not have the staff to be able to support with any issues that they have ongoing in their lives. And I find there is no other specialist services within the Kirklees area that can deliver what people on the spectrum need.
What SAS have given me is a lot of confidence and self-esteem, and I'm more confident when I go out into like the community, and more helpful and more advisable, really.
SAS have sort of provided kind of a refuge for me. It's somewhere to come out of the big world where I'm not understood and I'm struggling, where some people would go to a club and just unwind. That's has sort of the opposite effects on me. So I come here once a week, and it's just somewhere to be around people who'll understand me and other people who in the same situation, so I can finally socialise with some people, make friends. I just can't do that out of SACA. I've tried, but I've never really been successful. And I've had a world of help from the staff as well, like with, because I've got a bad short-term memory and I've struggled to keep up with doctor's appointments and chasing things up. If I have any trouble with anything whatsoever, SACA team's always been willing to help me. So I think between them both, it's just been like a vital lifeline, and it's like plug's about to be pulled next week, and I don't know where to go from there, really.
I think one of the difficulties, and this isn't just within Kirklees Council, this is within a lot of councils, is that people with autism and Asperger's fall very awkwardly between the two delivered services of mental health and learning disabilities. Now, a lot of people with Asperger's will have an above average high IQ, which means that automatically they aren't provided for by learning disabilities. The cut-off there is around about an IQ of about 70. A lot of people on the autistic spectrum, particularly on the Asperger's side, will have an IQ way above that. Then the difficulty is individuals may just have Asperger's and may not have a prevailing mental health condition. So therefore, perhaps conventional mental health services aren't ideally suited. So there's almost like this middle ground where individuals, because they will present very confidently, they will present very ably, is that difficulty of realising I don't know where this individual needs, support. So what we've been doing leading up to this closure is to look in as many different ways as finding alternative services for our current, service users here to progress and move on. And part of what we've been doing to look at that is also to offer, along with the members concerned, for organisations that they may be looking to engage with, for them to increase their awareness of Asperger's. So whether that means it may be a session delivered by myself and some of the service users here to say, look, this is how autism impacts on me, this is how Asperger's impacts on me. And it's, I suppose, the big loss is just going to be that sense of continuity. That place of great, I'm able to access a service every Tuesday or every Thursday, which is the 2 days we provide service here. And that's, I think, is going to be the biggest shock, is that lack of continuity. Because one of the biggest things, or sometimes one of the most difficult things for people on the spectrum to deal with, is a disruption to routine or a disruption to continuity.
I hinted a moment ago that Specialist Autism Services are one of the few organisations that understand Asperger's. Almost no one understands Asperger's if you haven't been involved with it, and that includes Kirklees Council. So the lack of an organisation that understands Asperger's is a real problem. For us, it's, we've been with Specialist Autism Services for 10 years now, and it's helped my son Jamie quite a lot. If we look at what we have to do to overcome that, we could go back to Bradford, but of course it means either a bus journey there and back 1 or 2 days a week, or me, as I used to do, taking my son to Bradford and back, and that's expensive and it's quite hard work.
I think, like the others have said, it's this, they're going to be left isolated, and they won't have alternative services to access in the community that provide the specialist support that we do. So ultimately it's the members that are missing out the most from this.
I think society is discriminating people with Asperger's because of our inability to function into society, because of what we don't necessarily do the things what most people do, particularly young adults, because a lot of young adults like going out late at night partying, and we tend to avoid these situations. Although some can master the situation, some do it, but the majority don't, because they think we're not up for what they want to do. They're not interested.
Once someone's, I think, I wish that once someone's been diagnosed with autism, that the help and support is you shouldn't have to fight a battle and feel like you've won the lottery if you do get the support needed. If someone's got autism, then we already know what help and support they need. Have a good idea of it. So I don't understand why some people can get the funding to go to SAS and some people can't. They've got the same condition. It's just a matter of how loud you shout, and it shouldn't be like that. If someone was missing a leg or two legs, then they don't have to normally fight to get a wheelchair. So just because autism isn't a physical one like that, and people aren't really aware, the council government just think that they can sweep us under the carpet. It just feels like that.
Kirklees don't really understand because they only have 20 people on their list of people being diagnosed with Asperger's in the whole of the authority.
Yeah, that's 20 people who are being diagnosed, and they need the support. Now, the point is that they don't understand what the implications of the diagnosis are, and the support that this implies that they need. Because one of the things that a lot of people with Asperger's have is that they don't want to be up front. They don't want to be like we are, sat in front of the camera. They'd rather life just got on, just went on, and they could get on with what they want. So they don't admit to having a problem. They don't admit to having the needs because they don't want to upset people. They don't want to put themselves on the spot. They mask it. And Kirklees don't understand this. Any of them.
You have a very different way of thinking. It's like your processing system in your mind is wired up completely differently. We tend to take things like more serious and literal, and then we struggle with socially. So we tend to be very isolated, don't have many friends, and then trying to hold a job down can prove really difficult, if not impossible, if the right procedures are put in place, and if the job isn't suitable. But if the job was suitable and the procedures were put in place, then we could. It's proven that people on the autistic spectrum are amongst some of the best workers out there.
I've worked in a lot of voluntary sectors in Kirklees, and they don't recognise that people with Asperger's have needs, and they don't address their needs. They don't recognise them. And it's almost as if they don't recognise them as human beings. The way they spoke to my daughter in the past, they just don't understand Asperger's. And people that's in the Kirklees sector need training on Asperger's.
I think the main area is that the lack of continuity and that progression on to a service which hopefully will have a greater understanding of the condition. The difficulty there is sometimes finding organisations which are, as is worded, autism friendly, I suppose is the best approach, because quite often other services, and there's nothing wrong with this, nothing at all, will be working with clients who have learning disabilities, or maybe working with clients with mental health conditions, but not necessarily working frequently with clients on the autistic spectrum.
Really, I would like Kirklees to go back to basics and look what is necessary to satisfy their obligations in terms of Asperger's and autism. It's a legal obligation that the government has placed on councils, and as far as I can see at the moment, the council are not satisfying that obligation. What I would like to make a point though about is the service that's been provided by SAS has not just been a case of occupying the people with Asperger's and giving them something to do at the end of the day. There's been behind it a learning experience of helping people with Asperger's to actually improve their lives. It's been things like teaching them how to cook, how to socialise, how to work with other people. And I think Kirklees needs to recognise that it isn't just a case of keeping the people occupied. It's a case of helping them learn and develop. And it's that sort of service that we want Kirklees to provide.
It's going to have a huge impact on Samantha and her family, because we have to support Samantha and her family, and she won't get any time out for herself, even though it was only a day a week on a Thursday. She really looked forward to that time out, and now there isn't going to be anything. Please will not fund Samantha a full day. We're still having to fight to get a full day's funding for Leeds, where she's chosen to go. She's had the interview and she's been round it, but she only gets £45 a week, which only covers half a day.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that she's going to have to decide what she wants to do with that £45, which doesn't even cover half a day at Leeds.